Pleasant good evening, everyone. My name is Andrea Crosby. You would have met me via email over the past few weeks, and now you can put a face to the email address. I just want to welcome everyone. Thank you for taking the time off to spend your afternoon with us. Today we have a really awesome session for you guys. I want to take time out to welcome all the new participants as well. And of course, re-welcoming those who would have joined us over the last 3 to 4 weeks. All right. So before we get into the action, let me just touch on a few house rules. We just kindly ask that you remain muted. And we will have a designated time to address all your questions. But if you have any burning issues, feel free to submit it via our chat box. Also, I hope everybody had the makeup done, the guys cut up the hair, and everybody well dressed. Because, feel free to turn on your cameras if you want to, engage us. We would like to engage you as well. So feel free. Let's see those beautiful faces. All right. We have a jam-packed session, so let's get right into it.
Branding, and I only could write about a narrow area for, I don't know how many words it was, 20,000 words, 30,000. So I'm going to do it in a couple slides, and in 30 minutes, I can do. So obviously I wouldn't cover everything, right? So let's get right into it. Let me just make it bigger here. Right, so I think you've seen it bigger, right? So in the background, you see some brands there. Some of them, like Coca-Cola, took about maybe 100 years to build. YouTube did it in maybe 20 years or so. Google probably did it in maybe 10 years. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers. And it seems as though today you don't need 100 years, because obviously we're not going to be around in 100 years, right? So here's what we're going to cover today. And put your questions in the chat and we'll try to deal with them. First, we're going to talk about what a brand is. Definition. I don't like definition too much, but I want to show you why I picked that definition from one of the gurus in marketing, right? I'm going to talk about the advantages of a strong brand. I know you know some of this, but I'm trying to build to get you aware, bring it, and I'll build on it, right? Then I'm going to talk about the four things. When you're picking a name, it must have meaning, right? And I'll come to that. And how to name your brand, just a few pointers here. Registering your name, because you don't want somebody run. And something called brand design. I'll talk a little bit about that. And if you stick around the end, for the past 3 sessions, giving away some free ebooks that I wrote, mini books. So I have another one, right? So so maybe you might like that. You could register for it, right? So here's what I want you to start thinking. Pick 3 brands that describe you, right? And the ones I want you to pick is the ones that you have been buying maybe consistently for maybe 10 or 20 years, right? I have 3 brands that I like and I've been buying for a long time. I've been subscribing to Harvard Business Review for almost 30 years, right? I raked and I scraped. I remember it was very expensive. And when I got my Harvard Business Review, I smelled it, right? To me, that was part of the brand, right? And days with National Geographic. And then another brand that I like called CNN. I was actually there when CNN had just started. I was studying away, and CNN had just started, and then they had the Challenger explosion. It was carried live. And the guy, Ted Turner, said that if you want to see if the world is coming to an end, you're going to see it live on CNN, right? So I like CNN for news. And my third brand is you may not believe this, is that Neutrogena. I've been buying Neutrogena before they had the men's line, right? And I had to hide and buy it because it didn't have a men's line. So I had to say, well, I buy this for my sister or something. But I'm so happy to have a men's line, I think it's 10 years old now. So I don't have to hide, put on my coat incognito and my dark sunshades and a hat and say, my sister sent me to buy this, right? And normally when I buy it, I've also went crawling around and trying to see how I'm talking about SPF and all that sort of thing. So those are the 3 brands that describe me, CNN, Neutrogena, and Harvard Business Review. So you put in your chart, so we get a little idea of you. Now the whole idea is that we are brands and brands are us. Remember that. So what is our brand? So let me go here and all our talk. So you all are probably familiar with Philip Kotler, right? They said he wrote the Marketing Bible. Well, he wrote actually several books, but the most popular one is the Principles of Marketing, right? And he has a definition there. I don't know, it changed so much editions now. I don't know if it changes, but there is a hole in this definition. He's saying a brand basically is a name, a term, a symbol, a design, like the Coke bottle, or a combination of all of that to separate your goods from those of the competitor, right, or differentiate it actually. Excuse me. So this is what he is saying. But I want you to think about that for a minute. Is this definition really that good? Is it missing something? And I want you to think about it, and I'm going to give you a little story, a short story, not a long story here for anybody to sleep, of what happened to me in Suriname when I was doing some visits with a customer of mine, right? And it taught me a lesson about branding that I didn't know I would learn from a 4-year-old, right? The girl there, no, that's my daughter and son. Those are the characters I'm talking about. I'll talk about them just now. So one day in Paramaribo, I was doing some trade visits, and my customer said, "You want some drink?" I said, "Yeah, no problem." So he went at about 2 o'clock. So while we were there picking up soft drink, he met one of his friends, and he says, "Meet this guy from Trinidad. His name is Sujadas." So I shook his hand, and he had his 4-year-old daughter with him. And she looked at me and she said, "You're from Trinidad?" I said, "Yes, I'm from Trinidad." And she smiled and she asked me, "Do you know Chubby?" Now, I was expecting, do you know Brian Lara? Or do you know, Wendy Fitzwilliam? No, she won in 19. Yeah, that's probably, I would expect a question like that. So I looked at her and I was about to say, "I know that soft drink." But when I looked at her, I realized the passion that she had for Chubby. And I thought about it for a while. And I said, Kotler came into my mind. Should I tell her, yes, I know that name, that design, and that logo and all that, which for a 4-year-old wouldn't have made any sense. So I responded to her quite simply, and I know what you would have put. I put, "Yes, I know her." And she was very happy about that. So you might ask, what is my point? My point is this. Chubby is not reflected in Kotler's definition. There's an intangible side to our brand. And for a 4-year-old, they understand the meaning of chubby. I mean, I know it's a soft drink. I don't drink soft drinks. I mean, I drink it now and again, but no big deal. Just sugar and water. And actually, I was in a meeting when I saw for Coca-Cola, and the guys were talking about this Coke and all this kind of thing, and I got everybody upset. And I told them, "What's the big debate? And we're selling sugar and water." Oh, everybody get excited. Or sometimes I don't know why people don't like me, but I've hit the nail on the head. I know why they didn't like me, right? So chubby means to this 4-year-old, chubby is a person. Turning to my little kids here, right? Well, my wife told me these are my kids, so I accepted that, right? So so I was in Florida in Fort Lauderdale, and my wife was going to shop. And well, women take a long time at the shop. They shop like going for like a bee, going from flower to flower to flower to flower, right? Then we shop different. We go like a SWAT team, go at a gun and say, "Give me that to us, I'll kill her." So they give me, then I round these stuff. That's how we shop. So I tell them, "I'll go in the supermarket." I think it was when Dixie, and I'll take all the time because I know this is going to take long. So I watching around. Then they come back skating, like out of the Cartoon Network. And they said, "Daddy, Daddy, we found Chubby." I said, "This is Winn-Dixie in Fort Lauderdale. There's no Chubby here." They said, "Yes, Daddy, if we get it, would you buy it for us?" I say, "Yes." Because I don't buy too much of soft drinks. Then after 1 second, no, sorry, no 1 second, 10, 15 seconds in a big supermarket, 20,000 square feet, which is huge, which is 3 times bigger than a typical high Massey. They come back, two Chubbies. They said, "Dad, and look at the price." 2 for $1. Well, at that time, they didn't understand the concept of what a US is. So I had to dish out one US for two chubbies, for two chubbies for them, right? So that was my little story. I hope I captured what a brand is, right? So a brand could be a person. If you notice KFC, they try to put a person in there, which would be Colonel Sanders and his story of how he, have his 11 spices, secret spices, whatever, right? So let's talk about advantages of a strong brand. And you know all this already, basically. So I just want to bring it out. You know that if people know your brand through higher awareness, you will have higher sales. So Coke will outsell. I know one time that Dixie. I don't know if there's Dixie anymore. And then there was RC Cola, right? That's the one where the pickup used to drive around with the white and blue, and sometimes them fellas see it and think it's police and they run away from the RC pickup, right? They think it's the police. So RC doesn't have the sales like Coke or Pepsi. It's easy to get new customers. I remember when this Victoria's Secret came to Trinidad, they did no advertising in Trinidad. When they came here, people were still buying it because they were aware of Victoria's Secrets, right? Premium price. Well, Coke basically, I mean, I hate to say this, I hope they're looking up. It's basically sugar, water, CO2, and a couple other things that they say is secret, right? And Coke could get a premium price over everybody else. And that leads to more profitability. Now, here's the nice thing about Coke. At one time, Coke was worth $70 billion US, right? They may have lost some value, and I'll come into that in a while. And that was worth more, the brand was worth more than their bottling plants. So if you add all the real estate and bottling plants, it wasn't as valuable as as the brand itself. So when you have a valuable brand, I commented brand equity just now. So if you get a premium price, you could probably make more money. The trade will accept your product. So when like Nestle introduces our product, I remember when they came out with Nestle CMOS, that's a long time ago. We had to make space in the supermarket for them, right? Because we know people come asking for it, right? And we couldn't resist. Actually, when I worked at Massey, they took a little while to approve it, right? Boy, not let that embarrassment because people are asking for it and all that sort of thing, right? Number 6, if your competition tries to whittle away at you, you have a better chance because you are different, right? Like I like to use Bali, the hairstylist. He could charge you more, $400 for a haircut or whatever. And other people charging $100 and they can't stand up there, right? So understand those are the advantages, right? So how do you build this brand? So I was doing some research and there's a guy called Paul Earl and he was talking about, I think he's from Kellogg Business School. I think that's University of Northwestern University, right? One of the top universities in marketing. Branded in a hyper-connected world. And he is talking about something called brand equity. Now, I know this sounds academic, but actually it has a lot of value for you. Now, we use the term equity loosely. I mean, in finance, is used equity is, I think, is your assets minus your liabilities, right? So that's your worth. I want you to remember that all brands have advantages and they have disadvantages, right? So you got to understand that concept. So Coke, for example, while it is viewed as an American icon, so when you drink a Coke, you're drinking a part of America. Just like when you eat Cricks. Cricks is a Trinidad icon. That's why people in New York ask your relatives to bring Cricks for me. I mean, you would think Cricks is like any crackers. When you offend people Cricks, a little kid come at me and I say, "What, some crackers and cheese?" He say, "Yes." I say, "You know what crackers is?" He said, "No." I said, "It's Cricks." He said, "Okay, why didn't you say it was Cricks?" I try to be a little difficult with the kid, right? I wasn't married at the time. I didn't have any kids, so I didn't know how to deal with kids, After that 4-year-old in Suriname, I think I learned my lesson, right? So Coke has some disadvantage. We know that. I remember a long time ago, the CEO of Coke said, I can't remember his name, he says that Coke was doing so well, he says he wanted to encourage people to drink Coke at breakfast. Little did he know that there's going to be a health trend and people are going to move away from soft drinks, right? I used to drink a lot of Coke. I admit that. I remember when we were in university, we used to buy about 2 liters of Coke, right? You finish that off in a week. Now I hardly would drink Coke, right? And we know that that Coke value is going down, and they try to help the brand by putting maybe zero calories or whatever, right? So no brand is perfect. So know your brand strengths and weaknesses. So let's go back to Paul Earle in his book, and he was saying that there are 4 steps you could take, and probably there are more, but just for this webinar, we just try to keep it simple. So your name must have meaning, and you must develop a hook to your brand. So people must be hooked on it like a fish is hooked, right? So if you're selling coconut bake, so we come into the simple products, coconut bake. You might say, well, my product has more coconut in it. And that's good, because sometimes you buy coconut bake out there, when you sink your teeth in, you ask yourself, where is the coconut? We know crime is a very big problem in Trinidad. Maybe somebody stole the coconut before they baked it. Right? I was asking myself that same question. So if you develop a hook and say, well, it is more, you are selling nostalgia. Because when I eat a nice coconut bake, I remember my grandmother used to make coconut bake in a fireside. And you're waiting for this coconut bake. And when that come out of that fireside, right? Well, whatever they call it, right? And you eat that down. You put a little butter, slap on some butter, and you're good to go, right? So if you could make a coconut bake and capture that in how your grandmother used to make, because your grandmother will always cook better than your mother. Well, don't tell your mother that. You have yourself a problem there. So let's take, for example, Maya's Rum in Jamaica. They claim in their story that the sugarcane workers who were ex-slaves, right? They made this rum going back to 1879 from the leftovers from the making of the sugar, right? And that is part of the essence of the brand, right? Right. So that's brand meaning. So you want to name your brand. Now I want to take a swipe at Shakespeare. Now Shakespeare had, I don't know the exact words, probably not. I'm not a literature expert, but Shakespeare had a line saying that a rose by any other name is still a rose. Now let me tell you something about Shakespeare. He might be the world's greatest dramatist, writer, whatever. But apparently he do not know about branding, right? So branding, we must be able to capture people's attention, right? And you must be able to evoke emotion and also keep it in people's memory. Now this involves something I call psychology. This has a lot of psychology to go with it, because if you don't understand psychology and understand how the mind gives things meaning, even inanimate object. Now, the mind could give people, I mean, if you know someone, that person has meaning to you, but the function of the brand creator is to give the brand meaning, right? And you have to think deep about that, and it's a mind thing, right? Now, I'm not asking you to be a psychologist. I am not a psychologist too, even though I do practice sometimes shock therapy when people get vexed, I give them a hard time. But as both psychologists, I suppose, right? So you must have a name that's easy to remember. They must, it must be something that they had to think about and all kind of thing. That could be a problem, and easy to pronounce. Now, Barbados has Montague rum, right? Now, I know I'm talking a lot about rum here, and you might say, well, he's from Central, so we don't expect better. Well, I want to admit that I do not drink rum. I stopped drinking 2 years ago. I am dry like a Crick's biscuit. So the Montague rum is, in Barbados, they claim this is the world's oldest rum. Now, I know that is true. Marketing is cook up a lot of things, but we don't criticize marketing because we are the marketer now, so we have to stay nice. And it was made in these copper stills and they blend it. So when you go to Barbados, you must try the Mount Geram. I think you get a chance, just like in Jamaica, to visit the facility, right? And they get you, into the brand and the whole history of the brand. All right, so let me leave Shakespeare here for a little while. So registering your name. Now it's important that you register your brand name because somebody's going to run away with it. And a lot of people got into trouble with this because they had a name and they went on the merry way, and then somebody registered, and then they write you a letter saying, please do not use my name. And then they tell you, no, you got to pay $10,000 for it. Now, here's what happened this morning. This morning, and I know we're talking brand name in terms of the brand name you put on it, but I went to register a domain name. Now, the name of my company is Entrepreneur Central. So I already have a domain name. So I said, let me see if I have entrepreneurcentral.com. Guess what? Somebody had it. And they want to sell it. $3,999. I said, wow, if I had bought that, I could have sold it and make some money. So I went and I checked, and I see that entrepreneurcentral.co, that was free. So I paid immediately, I paid 12 US for it, right? So luckily I was doing this PowerPoint, and so I realized I could have hold on to that brand name. So you could dream up a new name like Pepsi. As far as I know, Pepsi doesn't exist, right? So it was created. So you could create a new one. Also learn how trademark law works. So you can go to the Ministry of Legal Affairs website, and they have some stuff there you could read, or you could ask to speak to someone. I spoke to a guy, I can't remember his name, he's a Chinese guy. He's a whiz. He could tell you he's have regular webinars with Curry and all that. And if you get on to him, he's I can't remember his name. He could help you a lot. So brand design, last one. Now you have to bring, as I was talking about, you have to bring your brand to life. A brand cannot be, as Kotler would say, something dead. You have to give it life. So you could use colors, you could use your packaging, images, the story, the other aesthetics that you need, right? Now, some of you might say, well, I have a situation here. I don't have a product or a service. I have a store. And some of you have a store, a physical store, brick and mortar, and you may have an online store. So I admit I'm not good at online. When you check my website, you see I still struggling to develop my website. And you're free to offer me some criticism, I could probably do it. But when you're walking into a store, I'm not a brick and mortar store. It's like if you're going to a maxi taxi. I don't want to go back there again. Sometimes tell them, I say, look at the music, I ain't come here to dance, some kind of thing like that. Do not play the appropriate music. Now, sometimes your employees want to play the music that they like. So I didn't have a rag music, but the customers don't like that kind of music, right? You could have tasting going on in a store, and that's good. Now, smell is one of our primitive senses, and you can trick people very easily. Now, we had this debate when I was working Massey's where to put the bakery. Because bakery, the air conditioner will pick it up and take it through the store. So if you go on in there, you walk in the store and you say, well, I have a list. Let me tell you something. When you walk in that store and your taste and your smell pick up at that bakery, you become a caveman or one. You are very primitive. You will follow that smell. He knows that. I'm telling you, right? So you could probably play around with smell too. Now I ain't telling you go and pump perfume into the air conditioner. I don't know what you do, but you have to figure out how to do it. Last point is some marketers believe feelings are more important than perceptions. So some people, when how you perceive something will help you, will encourage customer to buy a product. Some people believe, and I believe this too, I could be wrong, is that it's how you feel towards the product, right? And like I'm connected to Harvard Business Review. When they went online, so I could get a print magazine, I could go online. I said they taking a chance in it. It's like redoing Toyota Corolla. Toyota probably just crossed their head and say, you got to be careful here, because if you mess it up, you lost all that. And, they did a pretty good job moving online, right? All right, so just to summarize, hope you're putting your questions here. So I said, when I started off, when I talk about definition of our brand, is that brand a lot of times have an intangible side. Just remember the girl, she asked me, do you know Chubby? And I didn't say, yes, I know that soft drink, sugar, and water in a nice little bottle. That would have broken her heart for sure. So it has an intangible side. So Chubby has a personality, right? We talked about the advantages that brand has, which will get you a better financial return for your business. We talked about brand could have meaning, and it must be deep and enduring. Like reminds you of your grandmother's cooking a coconut bake. And naming the brand, just make sure recall is there, and people can associate it with something. Like Coke is associated is an American icon, all right? Just like Ford Mustang or Levi jeans associated, going back 100 years or whatever. Remember to register your brand and protect your brand, because that is very important. As part of the assets of the business. Your accountant will not be able to account for that, but it is important. Brand design, you got to design your brand so it bring it to life, and use as much senses as possible to bring it to life. Because some entrepreneurs could use their name and get business, whether it be, I know Willie's used to do that when he had the ice cream business, but he's out of business now. I'm sure Brian Lara uses that a lot. I see you have a line of sunshades or glasses, I think it is. So that is very important. All right. So as I promised you for staying on, you could go to my website, and I have a new ebook, hot off the press, even though you don't send it to the press anymore because the ebook is called Opportunities in Economic Adversity. So if you're looking for more help in getting some ideas, you could do that. I have some resources here you could look at. I think the PowerPoint will be sent to you. What is a brand? You could look at it in YouTube. And another one, what is branding? A 4-minute crash course, right? I'd just like to point out that, and just lastly, I know we have a minute here for my time, is that you would think, well, I need a whole set of money to build a brand. Now, when I was speaking a couple of years ago, I was doing a case on Quentrell Thomas, Lara Quentrell Thomas. She started as a one-person business, and she used networking. And this lady is a master networker. She told me she built a business from just going out to events. And simple thing she does is that she always asks a question, introduces herself and asks a question. She says when she doesn't have a question, I say, what do you do? She says, I say, my name is Lara Thomas from Regency Recruitment Agencies. And I'd like to thank you on a wonderful, and I like that point you made about branding and Chubby and all that. I said, wow. And when I go to this networking thing, before I spoke to her, I used to say quiet in a corner there. I say, looking for tea plates, yes? And what a mistake I made. So I think that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sir John. Very, very enlightening. You touched on some really key points. One person is asking if you could just quickly share the website and the name of the book.
Yeah, sure.
Before we move on.
Let me see if I can go back in. Hold on. Like I can't reverse.
All right.
Let me see.
Well, we'll just share it after. Okay, Kemi? All
yeah,
right.
okay.
All right. Thank you, Sir John. Thanks again. All right. So we are on to Miss Adana Austin. Take it away, Adana. The floor is yours.
Right. So guys, I like it to be as interactive as possible. So please put on your cameras so that I can see you and so we can have a conversation, yeah? Put on your camera so that I can see you. So today we're talking about branding, right? And Sajad hit on some really, really key points in branding. And he's right. I know Miss Quentrell Thomas personally, and she is a master networker. She really did build her business from networking, and that's a great way to establish your brand. So we're going to talk about branding. The one key thing that I want you to take away from branding, if you're taking notes, one key thing I want you to take away is people will not buy you if they do not know you exist. Please write that down. If you're taking anywhere, you're doing anything, people will not buy from you if they do not know you exist. Yes? And give me a thumbs up when you write that down. People will not buy from you if they do not know you exist. Give me a thumbs up when you write it. Yeah? To understand a few things about branding, especially as a new entrepreneur. When we talk about branding, a lot of times people just think your brand is your logo and your colors and that kind of thing. But branding is so much more than that, and it's so much bigger than that. Right? Keep on giving me any thumbs up if you have written down your sentence. Yes, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. You've written down your sentence. People will not buy from you if they do not know you exist. Yeah. So when you're thinking about branding, one of the first things I would encourage you to do before you even go and do that logo and choose a name and do all of those things is to do your research. You want to spend some time doing research about your name, doing research about what people like, what people are going through, so that when you come to the decision to create your logo or to create your tagline or to use specific questions, it is being guided by data, and it's not just because, well, I love purple or I love blue, right? Because you have to realize that the thing that you're going to produce to share with your audience has to create an emotional connection with them. So you're not just creating a logo or a brand and using pink because I'm speaking to all women, right? Which is what we tend to do, and then we just have a whole set of pink all over the place, right? You need to do that research before you start to put together any branding material. So, I always have questions for you, and as usual, answer them in the comments to me so that we can really get clear about this branding. If I say to you, I want something like a piece of cloth or a paint, I want something in Be Mobile Green. Do you know exactly what I mean? In the comments. If I say I want something in Be Mobile, head you would know what that, you would know exactly what it looks like. It's not a light green, right? You know the exact shade of green when I say a Be Mobile Green. Yes? Yes, give me some thumbs, tell me in the comments, yes. If I say the words just do it, what product are you thinking about? If I just say just do it, what automatically comes to your mind? What automatically comes to your mind? Then just say my father. That too, right? Just do it. What automatically comes to your mind? If I say a man's beer, whether you're a drinker or not, if I say a man's beer, what automatically comes to your mind? Yeah, oh God, not carib. You all serious, right? A man's beer, right? And I mean, so John spoke about Coca-Cola was my client for a number of years as well. I used to work in an advertising agency. But why do you think Coca-Cola is so brand? Most people, when they talk about brands or they're teaching anything about brands, they always use Coca-Cola as an example of a very effective brand, right? Yes. So, right, you love the Coke ads. Yes. Why? Because especially around this time, right, the ads, they tell stories. Think about their Christmas ads with the polar bears and the little trucks traveling through the streets and that kind of thing, right? It's always about togetherness. It's always about the family and that kind of thing, right? So these brands, you can identify these brands. If I say just do it without me saying the name of the brand. If I say a man's beer, you know exactly what the name of the brand is. If you see an ad on TV and you see polar bears and stuff, you immediately start to think about Coca-Cola. Yeah. If I say Be Mobile Green, you immediately start to think about a specific green. All of this is branding. Yes? Understand that, guys? All of this is branding. So it's not just the logo, it's how you make people feel and the words that you use and the colors and those kind of things that are making people have a connection to your business. Yeah. Let's go a little further. There are certain names we call products, no matter the actual name of the product. Can you give me an example? There are certain names we call products, no matter the name of the actual product. I'll give you 3 examples. Every bleach is Clorox. Now, so, yes, Pampers, yes. Every dishwashing detergent is squeezy. You're going to get a squeezy and you really go and pick up a Dawn, eh? But you're saying I go and pick up a squeezy, right? Every cheese snack is a Conkles when the name is really Azumas and all these kind of things, right? And that is the power of having a great brand. That is the power of having a great brand. And that is how you want to think about your business when you start to think about how can I put my brand together. Making sense so far? Tell me in the comments. Is it making sense so far? Are you seeing the connections? Yes, you see any connections? That is the power of your brand. It starts with your name, yes. It starts with your logo. It starts with your colors, but it goes much further than that. And so Jack touched on a very, very, very important point. He's emotionally with your audience. And that's the power of Coca-Cola. Yeah? That is the power of Coca-Cola. It connects emotionally with you because you have a particular feeling when you see a Coca-Cola ad. Yes? Good. So I want to share with you 4 things that your brand needs. So get ready to take these notes. I want to share with you 4 things that your brand needs. When you're thinking about your brand, I know, again, don't just run out and buy start to get a logo and think about colors and stuff. That is not where it stops. That is just the beginning of your brand presence and your brand personality. Your brand has to have a personality. Is your brand male or is it female? Is it very loosey-goosey? Is it more professional? Is it, a comedian? Your brand has to have a personality, right? Not because you're in business means that every time that you show up or every time that you do a video, send an email, show up on social media, that you have to sound stiff and what we like to call in the Caribbean, professional, right? It's always about that. Your brand has to have a particular personality, and you have to take all of these things into consideration when you are developing your brand. Yeah. So one of the first things I want you to think about as you're developing your brand, you need to know exactly what it is. So you can choose, yeah, need to know who your audience is so you can speak directly to them. In the comments, tell me who you think your audience is. Tell me who you think your audience is. And guys, when you're thinking about your audience, one of the key things you have to remember as an entrepreneur is you're not trying to sell to or speak to everybody. If that's what you're doing with your brand right now, you are setting up yourself for failure because it's your brand, your business is not for everybody, right? It's for a particular niche of people. And we're going to talk more about that on Monday when we do marketing and sales. But I want you to start thinking about that. Tell me in the comments who you think your audience is. Is it mom? Is it men? Is it kids? Is it married women? Is it professional women? Is it people who live in the East-West corridor? Is it people who work in a particular field? Is it people who are tall, people who are short, people who are like, who is your audience? The reason that you want to do that and you want to know exactly who they are and get really, really specific as to who they are as you build your brand is because you want to speak directly to them. The messages that you put out on your social media, your videos, your emails, your blogs, wherever you're showing up, it's about them. It's not about you, right? It's about them. It's not about you. So know your audience, know exactly who your audience is, right? The second thing that I want you to remember as you build your brand is that you have to have a very clear story or message that makes you unique to your competitors, right? And the first thing a lot of people say, well, yeah, I'm unique because I have the best price. Price, a lot of times, is not an indication of uniqueness, right? What makes your brand unique? Can anybody tell me in the comments? What do you think makes your brand unique? Makes it stand out from everybody else? What are you providing? It's not price, it's not customer service. What do you think you are providing? Or and taste is very subjective, yeah. That other people in your industry or in your niche are not providing. And when you say quality, what does that mean? Be specific, guys. What does quality mean? Quality is very, very generic, right? So for example, if you're selling food, it can't just be the taste. It has to be something like, I am unique because for my food, I provide a special sauce, or I have a specialty dish, or bread, or you know what I mean? It has to be something that is unique, that you can communicate with your audience that this is what makes me unique. Because I can't just go and say, well, I have the best tasting food in the East. That's subjective, but I can say that I am the only one who creates this special sauce that gives you a kick, right? And I can sell the idea of my sauce, or I can sell the idea of my specialty dish, right? I know that there is a young lady who does ice cream. We call her the ice cream chef. She does ice cream from different types of stuff. So like she has like a curry ice cream and those kind of things. And that is what makes her different. You remember when Mario's came up with the saltfish pizza? You remember that when they did saltfish and they did another one, but those things are what make them special, right? So you have to figure out what makes smoke herring. Thank you, Charlene. What makes yours different? If you're selling clothes, is your clothes African inspired clothes? Is it for tall persons? Is it for plus size persons? You understand what I'm saying? Those are the things that are going to make your brand stand out, because the truth of the fact is we all have tons of competitors, right? We have tons of competitors. So you have to spend that time, do the research to figure out what makes my business stand out. If you're providing a service, when we talk about food, we talk about clothes. If you're providing a service, it's the same thing. So for example, I am a business coach and I provide support in marketing, sales, and content creation. That is what I am doing. Other business coaches give you support in registering your business, opening a bank account, doing your SEO or your website and whatever. And because I am focused just on those three things, that is what makes me unique to my competitors. Making sense? Tell me in the comments. Making sense so far? Yes, making sense? So know your audience and have a very clear story and message. Yes? Yes? The third thing, as you start to develop this brand and you start to figure out who your audience is, you now have to say that how am I going to position myself as a leader and authority in my space? Yeah? You do that by niching down on a specific thing. So as I just give you the example, right? I give you the example. As a coach, I just do marketing, sales, and content creation. Can I teach other things? Most definitely. But again, I'm not trying to create a brand for everybody. I'm not trying to create a brand for all entrepreneurs. I'm trying to create a brand that serves the needs of entrepreneurs who have challenges with their marketing, their sales, and their content creation. So you have to, as you're building your brand, how can I position myself as a leader? What do you want to be known? Comes up when you write it down. What do you want to be known for, and what do you want to be known as? and share that information consistently with your audience, right? That particular thing that you want to be known for and want to be known as. And something like an elevator pitch. Has anybody ever heard about an elevator pitch before? You know what an elevator pitch is? Yes, yes, I've seen some yes. Charlene says yes. Joseph says no. So an elevator pitch is a short, literally two, I would say a minute introduction that you can share with your audience that says exactly how you are different and who you help. My elevator pitch with you. Hi, I'm Adana Austin. I am your business coach and consultant, and I work with high-end entrepreneurs like yourself to get very clear on your goals, identify your ideal clients, and develop the marketing strategies to grow your business. That is my elevator pitch. So you know who I am, you know who I serve, and you know how I serve them. And I use that elevator pitch, and I challenge each shared with us on Monday in the marketing and sales class. Yeah, you use that elevator pitch to position yourself or to position your brand as a leader or authority in your space. Yeah, you understand, guys? And the final thing, as you do your research, as you figure out everything, you have to also create what you call a style guide for business. Does anybody have a style guide for their business? Anybody has a style guide? The Malita was positioning yourself as a leader and authority in your space, right? What do you want to be known for and what do you want to be known as? Does anybody have a style guide for their business? Right. So this is a great time for you to create a style guide, right? Especially if you want to make sure your brand is strong. Your style guide will have your logo, your brand colors, fonts that you use, your brand imagery, your mission statement, right? And a decision on the tone of your business. Are you professional? Are you more laissez-faire? Are you a mix of the two, right? So it's your logo, your brand colors, your fonts, your brand imagery, if you have particular images that you want to use with your brand all the time, your mission statement, and your tone. If you look at a lot of the brands that we follow, if you look at Nike, Coca-Cola, Be Mobile, Digicel, Flow, Mario's, KFC, if you look at them, no matter where you see them, whether it's on a billboard, a press ad, on TV, their logo is the same. Yes? Their colors are the same. The fonts that they use are always the same. The type of imagery that they use is always consistent, right? KFC not going to use a picture of a cat, right? They're always going to use pictures of their chicken and their mashed potatoes and that. So their imagery, they know these are our stock images, and that's how you have to treat your business as well. Yeah, your mission statement and your tone. Yeah, so when you're thinking about your brand, as I said, as we wrap up, when you're thinking about your brand, guys, you want to make sure that you are taking these 4 things into consideration, right? Because people will not buy from you if they do not know you exist. And people will also not buy from you if you are sounding and looking and feeling like everybody else around you, right? Because you know that's also a challenge, right? You've seen 500 nail technicians, 500 hairdressers, how much people selling phones, how much people selling tech stuff, but everybody looks and sounds the same, right? So your brand is how you will make sure you are differentiated from those people so that at a glance, your audience should be able to see your logo or see your message or hear your voice and know immediately that this is the company who is speaking to me, or this is the company who is in front of me. Make sense? So let's jump into your questions. I mean, what question? Let's jump into questions and tell us what questions you have. Question times, guys. Put it in the comments, in the chats. Questions, let's see. You said logo, brand. You want me to go over those, the last, I think, brand style? Yes? Okay. So for your style guide, you want to have your logo, your brand colors, your fonts, right? The type of fonts that you're going to use, because you don't want to be writing in one font now and writing in another font now, because you want to have continuity and for your brand to look a particular way all the time. The brand images that you use. So if you sell bread, there's a particular way you like your bread to look, and particular types of images, your mission statement, and then the tone. Yeah? Great. How does someone go about getting a website? But there are many, many website developers out there. You need to do some interviewing of them and of their work, that you can find the one who is best suited for you. Always try to find somebody who has done websites kind of similar. They could tell you the ins and outs of that. I just saw home style cooking, no recording. You said logo, brand. Just I need to open this up because it's too small and I'm trying to.
Alyssa has a question to you, Adana. Where do you register your brand or business name since we're in COVID now? Also,
go ahead.
What do you recommend we register our businesses as?
So you can register your business. You can still register your business right now at I think Legal Affairs, right? You can do it online. Go on their website, and they will give you the instructions of what you have to do now, since we're in the middle of a pandemic. And the decision to register as a limited liability or a sole proprietor is really depending on the type of business. I would say start off as a sole trader first, because there are differences in, like, if you have to pay taxes, and there are also differences in the sense of risk. So if something happens, if you're a sole trader and something happens to your business, you are completely liable for everything, right? Whereas if you are a limited liability, your business is going to be liable, right? Right. Natasha says you can go through TT Connect. Yes, you could go through TT Connect. Jennifer asked, explain tone. So when I say tone, I mean, do you want to always talk in a very professional way? Do you want to be more laid back? Do you want to, you know what I mean? Are you more of like a fun brand? As I told you, one of the exercises I give my clients is, you know, give your brand a name, give your brand a personality. That will kind of guide the tone of your business. Give your brand a name and give your brand a personality, right? Because if you're selling bread and stuff like that, you don't need to have a professional. I know what I mean by professional tone, right? You could be a little more fun and engaging with your audience, right? So there are different tones you might want to use based on the type of business that you do have. Any other questions?
Here's another interesting one for you, Adana. So Natalie says, reviews are hard to get sometimes, and respecting client privacy is key. Hence, how do you gain trust that you did? How do you handle that?
So from the time somebody starts to work with me, I tell them in advance that I would need a testimonial or some kind of review. So going into work with me, my clients know this, and then we can decide which parts together with the client, It would never be that I just decide I'm going to share this part. Together with the client, we will decide what parts can be, what parts we would like to show, right, as part of our social proof, for want of a better word. And guys, as people work with you, just ask them to leave a testimonial, ask them to leave a review, and know that you may have to ask them more than once because life gets busy, and that's just part of it, right? So just know that yes, your tagline is part of your brand. Think about it. Just do it is the tagline for Nike, right? And that's part of their brand. Reviews, yeah, okay, I've seen that, right? Any other questions? Do you get or gain trust? You can, okay, that was the end of a question. And guys, you gain the trust of your audience through your marketing, eh? You gain the trust through your marketing, and that's what we're going to talk about on Monday, because your marketing is really about how you build those relationships and build the trust with your audience, so that they just trust you and they're ready to buy from you and ready to, you know what I mean, with you and refer you to others as well. Any other questions? Thank you, Natasha, for sharing that information. Many times ideas, products, and services have to be unbranded. You mean
Hi, Adana.
rebranded?
Tasha here. So let me, well, I work TT Connect, so I could just give them a little insight. So what you do, you want to register your business, you must first get a TT Connect ID. Then you have what you call the TT BizLink. So that is what we will use to help register you. When we give you that access, then you go on, we will give you instructions how to register your business. And then you will be able to read. So at legal affairs, that's the last stage per se,
The last stage,
but
yeah.
you will have to go to the name to see if they have the name and everything first, and then the final stage of legal affairs, where you will collect your certificate of registration. If you're a trade, most of us will be, or certificate of incorporation, already had a business established, and that's how you'll have the
Yes.
certificate of incorporation. Thanks,
No problem.
guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Natasha. That was
Thank you so
actually
much.
very, very useful, very helpful. You came in
Yes.
very handy this session. You need to give
Thank
you
you
your own
so-
segment.
Thank you so much, guys. Any other questions?
Any other questions? Going once, going twice, three
Give us a
times.
give us a thumbs up if you really understand what branding is now. You have a clearer idea of what branding is based on what Sajad and I shared. Because I know a lot of times people think, well, to get warmer colors, and that's good, but it's so much more than that, right? Tell us if you understand what it is. And in our session on Monday, where we talk about marketing and sales, we're going to dive much deeper into how you get your business off the ground, how you start to get people to build trust and start to get people to buy from you on a regular basis.
All right, it seems like, well, it's 6:01. I'm not seeing any other questions in the chat, so I have to assume that we're all good for now. Sajad, thank you, sir, for your very awesome presentation.
You're
Again,
welcome.
Adana, thank you. I mean, I think I can speak for everyone. Both of you guys really presented us with some really thought-provoking ideas, you know, when it comes to building your brand. And some of the things you mentioned is stuff we know, but, you know, we didn't connect the dots. And between Sajad and Adana, I think you all really helped us marry the two. So thank you on behalf of all the participants. I just have 2 announcements to make. The first, really important, as Adana said, on Monday, we'll be doing marketing and sales strategies. But I want to emphasize that we're not having a session on the Wednesday. So basically, the last 2 sessions are the next 2 Mondays, the 29th of November, and then our finale on the 6th of December. where we talk about commingling of funds. All right, of course, you all will get your usual reminder emails from Trishana, but I just wanted to make that announcement really clear. And the next thing is that I know you all would have been asking for the recordings. We will make them available for everyone at the end of the series. Okay, so don't worry, you all guys will have the recordings to review and go over, take over your notes and all those things. All right, so I think today we ended on a really high note. The brand, I mean, is really critical in your business. Appreciated the talking points, and persons are ready to go and really kind of sit and work on whatever their business is in terms of their branding. All right, so again, thanks everyone. Have a great afternoon, and we look forward to seeing you again on Monday 29th, where we talk about marketing and sales strategies. All right, guys, have a great night, everyone. Take care. Bye.